I didn't watch the game.
So I didn't watch it this weekend. But last weekend, yeah, he was getting sacked.
Well, here's the good news. Indianapolis is not going to be sacking them like crazy. The team overall is pretty weak. They're developing, but they're not at that stage yet where we can consider them a legitimate threat to any team at this point. So I'm going to say to Aaron Rodgers. I like Andy Dalton against Miami. They're both great matchups, but because it's the name, really, that brings Aaron Rodgers to this. So I'm going to give this to Aaron Rodgers in this one.
I mean, I would give Aaron Rodgers.
Agreed, Aaron Rodgers.
If we look at the running back battles, though, you may win this one. You have LaShawn McCoy and Darren Sproles. LaShawn McCoy decided to light up a bit more last week, didn't he?
He did a little bit.
The Eagles made him more of a bigger part of their offense.
If he would have been amazing if he scored a touchdown, but unfortunately he did not. But he had about...
Hey, there's someone behind us. There's more behind us.
Sorry, I know somebody. Yes, LaShawn McCoy had about 130 yards total all-purpose yards. He got about 13 points. The only problem was he did not score a touchdown for me.
Oh.
So, I know, but when you score that many yards, it's bound to happen eventually. It's going to happen.
Well, Wes Welker needs to hurry up and score a touchdown because he hasn't yet.
But don't worry. We'll get to that soon. But then we look at her running back. She has Ryan Matthews, who...
All right, what's up with Jackie Battle? Going in there and competing with Ryan Matthews in San Diego.
Well, what happened was Ryan Matthews fumbled in week 3 at a very costly point in the game, and they were like, fuck you, Ryan Matthews.
No. Let me go over this. I know the situation better than both you do right now.
I read the official report.
You did, but I'm the one who watches the games and actually talks to a Chargers fan.
I'm on top of the face. I know everything.
So this is where we'll start the story. Ryan Matthews was injured for most of the season, decided to come back, fumbled in his first game, which is an issue, but it's something that could be made up by his later performances. They're easing him into the game, back into it. The reason why he didn't play so much against the Chiefs is because they're winning by so much, because Matt Castle decided to throw 3 interceptions or something like that.
That's what Matt Castle does best.
And the Chargers were ahead the entire game, meaning they didn't have to force Ryan Matthews in. So, that doesn't really mean that he's going to be a great matchup going against New Orleans. I mean, it's New Orleans, which suggests that they're going to give up big points to anybody.
Yes,
New Orleans. But I think Ryan Matthews still has to prove that he can put up big points again. He hasn't done that yet.
I think he'll get more touches this week.
Right.
Last week.
And we know Stan McFadden's on a bye. That's going to have to be changed pretty soon. So Wilson McGahee is a very good person to put in for him.
Solid choice.
A very solid choice. Ranked number 11, got 19 points last week. And this week, now going up against, let's see, it's the New England. Well, New England's known more for their offense than their defense.
Yeah, they're decent.
But the Bills did not do anything rushing-wise against them last week. Granted, they did have an injured Frank Jackson kind of trying to play and an injured C.J. Spiller trying to play.
Just to show Joyce, guys, let me touch the ball.
Guys, I can play, I promise.
So maybe we don't know enough about that yet. But whether or not Wilson McGahee is a good matchup, I'm giving this one to your team.
Tootsie
Sproles. I like LaShawn McCoy. Darren Sproles, I think he's a good draft pick when you got him because
I got him late.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got him like 7th round.
That's great.
I think I drafted him right after you picked Matt Ryan.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
So.
Still mad about that.
Still mad. Everyone took a quarterback in the first round.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Okay, you got one soon after. And you waited until like the 6th round and you get like the best one.
That was the strategy.
Bullshit.
That was the strategy. You could have got Robert.
And everyone who's like, everyone knew Matty Ice was going to be awesome. Everyone knew this was his breakout year. Then why the hell did no one draft him early?
Because I could have gone 6 other players at really good spots before we got taken.
Bullshit. Anyway, keep going.
Wide receivers, Jordy Nelson at Indianapolis, Wes Welker playing at home against Denver, Torrey Smith at Kansas City versus Malcolm Floyd at the Saints, Julio Jones at Washington, and A.J. Hawkins.
I'm going
to tell you one thing already. I'm pretty sure she could put Mike Wallace in. Mike Wallace has been a stud this year so far
against Philadelphia.
So take out Hawkins, put in Mike Wallace. You got yourself a good wide receiver cast. Michael Floyd's top wide receiver, San Diego. Julio Jones
got 30 yards last week.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you guys about this. I was trying to decide, do Reggie Wayne going against Green Bay? I didn't know whether to start.
No, I'm not the guy to be answering this. For one, I go out with this girl, so I'm not sure how happy she'd be if I gave you advice against her. I'm not telling you. So,
you can just text me later. It'll be fine.
Okay, so I'm going to give this one right now to Tootsie Sproles.
Sproles.
Torrey Smith has been looking really good. He's Joe Flacco's favorite
Especially
target.
in that new no-huddle offense they're running, which is weird.
It's un-Raven-like.
It's very un-Raven-like.
They got a great running back, but they just don't want to use him as much in the running game.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand that. But I like Wes Walker. He's been performing better lately. If Aaron Hernandez comes back, that's going to hurt his touches, but he's still a huge target of Tom Brady's. And Jordy Nelson, I mean, I think that he's almost equivalent to Greg Jennings for the Green Bay Packers. He's a big playmaker.
He is.
Yeah.
As for the air team, well, I think Julio Jones has to prove he can do a little bit more after last week's more dismal results. And Michael Floyd, well, I like Phillip Rivers. I think he's a better than average quarterback, but I think that he's still not on top of his game like he used to be a few years ago. So looking through all these things, we can look at one more matchup. You have Vernon Davis, she has Tony Gonzalez. I can say those are both really great tight ends. But if you look at Tony Gonzalez, he's not a knockout. You can't simply disregard the guy. Okay, I mean, hey, go with the.
I'd say he's number 3 after Gronk and what's his name, Graham.
Well, Tony Gonzalez is number 1.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so like I said,
What just happened? He got like 5 points last week.
Well, that's okay.
Vernon Davis was number 1.
Lennon,
but he had the Niners' offense didn't do shit last week against the Jets because they didn't have to.
Well, tight ends are always one of the most unpredictable positions in the fantasy football. So how seriously you take their rankings? The only guy who really made a lot of sense and as a tight end was Jimmy Graham and
Vernon Davis number 2.
So really, let's just call this one even, just because we simply don't know what's going to happen.
Vernon Davis.
So looking at all these matchups,
Vernon Davis too against the Chiefs.
Yep, it's the Chiefs. Always pick whoever's going against the Chiefs.
I mean, never mind.
Unless you're the Saints.
Buffalo.
You're just saying that because you want that quarterback.
Yeah.
Not Barkley.
Geno Smith.
What if the Browns go 0-16 with Whedon and they're just like, fuck, go pick another quarterback?
I'll take Whedon.
I'm giving this one to Tootsie Sproles right now, although I think Garner Wayne's going to give you a big fight.
I'm tired of the big fights.
I think this is going to Tootsie Sproles pretty handedly.
I've been up the most points in fantasy.
You don't
piss me off.
I had the most points.
I've given up the most
Oh, you've given up the most points.
Yeah, you better play that damn violin. This happens to me every year.
It's the world's smallest violin.
I see.
It's playing the world's saddest song.
I can't hear it. Can you sing that tune for me?
Because it's the world's smallest.
But you're supposed to be able to hear it.
So we're looking at the next matchup here. We got the Miles Brown Johnson versus the
Brown Johnson?
Miles Brown Johnson's Austin.
No, but who is Brown Johnson?
Well, he has Johnson on his team and a Brown.
Oh.
He was trying to do what I did last year.
I get it.
Adrian Penis and Splashy Johnson.
He's trying to be a copycat.
Brown
What's
Johnson.
funny about it?
I didn't get it either.
It's
I think it's supposed to be really raunchy,
Like
but
poop dick?
That's why I thought too. Poop
that doesn't
dick.
sound.
That's kind of funny.
It just is one big poop dick.
So we look at the matchups. We're going to see that we have Miles Brown Johnson with Cam Newton at quarterback, and we have the Fuckmeister Supremes Eli Manning. And
Eli Manning.
Going into this, I'm going to say one thing. Fuckmeister Supremes, get your team back in the game. Alex made a good mention with this in his report, and I agree with him. You don't have the best players on this team. Ben Tate's starting. He's a backup, and Michael Bush, that guy's the backup again because now Matt Forte's back. And what is going on with you, girl? You used to have this stuff down.
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Didn't you win your league last year?
It's not looking like it this
Something
year.
like that? You're like the only
Maybe.
girl who won?
So she must have been playing in a league of like 4 people, and the other
Maybe.
people didn't check, or is that what
Oh,
happened?
maybe she got 10th and she thought the highest number
Oh,
was
that might
the
have been
winner.
it. That might have been it too.
Could be associated with the Saints losing so much. Maybe
Could
football
be.
just is not something she wants to pay attention
Could
to
be.
this year. Sorry, it's
They're almost as bad as the Cowboys. Oh wait.
Gosh, guys, that's like the 4th Cowboys joke. Man, you guys are getting me good
Hey,
tonight.
if you think of any good Niners jokes, just let me know.
I don't want to get into it. I can make.
You lost to the Vikings.
No.
Who they're not looking that bad this year.
I know.
So,
I think they're 2-2.
Jordan.
yeah.
He's way the lights. Right now, it's like Niners and Cowboys.
I'm not gonna say anything. It is what it is. Tony Romo played better. But anyway, let's go back to this
Put that up
matchup.
again. Hold on. Niners, Cowboys.
Chiefs. For those of you who did not see it, it was way below.
Way below.
So Cam Newton against Eli Manning. I'm giving this to Cam Newton.
I'm giving it to Eli Manning.
You know what? You know what? I changed my mind. Eli, and I'm gonna say it because Eli's got the Browns. They don't have much of a respectable defense.
I still don't respect your Eli in the first round pick.
What were you thinking?
What were you thinking?
Well, everyone's taking quarterbacks, but she did good in the last one.
She
was the 8th pick, right?
Granted,
yeah, she got desperate.
Granted, it didn't work out so much for me, but Matt Stafford was still available when
Matt Stafford he was a top 5 quarterback last year. There's a difference. So
which phone away?
No, I gotta make a quick text. This is the.
Hey, Brianna can wait. Put your phone away.
Brandon, stop texting him.
Anyway, so
while you're doing your
All right, yeah, he's
all right. So
busy, guys.
Wide receivers I'm sorry, we're back to running backs. I'm sorry, running backs. Miles Brown Johnson has Marshawn Lynch at Carolina, Alfred Morris versus Atlanta. Fuck My Supremes has 2 backup running backs, so automatically Miles Brown Johnson wins.
Miles Brown Johnson.
Yep. Okay. Wide receivers: Steve Smith, Dwayne Bowe, Antonio Brown.
Don't bench Dwayne Bowe this time.
He's playing the Ravens.
You might want to bench Dwayne Bowe this time.
But he also doesn't have any backups.
Yeah, don't bench Dwayne Bowe.
He's
really good at putting together the garbage returns. So when the Chiefs are down by 4 touchdowns and Matt Castle throws a few just because the other defense puts in their second strings, Bowe gets all those touchdowns. So it's great.
And then the Fuck My Supremes have Percy Harvin, Victor Cruz, Lance Moore.
Okay, that's a little bit iffy.
But they're all going against pretty subpar defenses.
But it's Lance Moore, and when I say it's just Lance Moore, I mean he's one target among the many on the Saints offense, and he's not going to get as much attention as Marcus Colston is now, since now Marcus Colston's healthy and come back from injury in the first few weeks.
And you also have Anquan Bolden on the bench going against the Chiefs.
Yeah, definitely start him.
So start Anquan Bolden.
He had that one good week against the Cleveland Browns.
Against the Chiefs.
Against the Browns. They played the Browns last week.
They're just as bad.
Yeah, no. I'm saying go for it. It's just the Ravens, to me, they're more invested in Torrey Smith. But I mean, Colombo could have a great week, so we'll see.
But I don't know. I'm probably going to go with the Miles Brown Johnson.
I might go with the Fuckmasters. Miles Brown Johnson. I mean, one's playing the Seahawks, one playing the Ravens.
Well, let me say one thing. Are you saying this to be nice, or are you saying this because you legitimately think the Fuckmeister Supremes have a chance here? Because I'll be honest, I think it's going to go to Miles Brown Johnson. I think they got the good running backs. I mean, that's going to have a huge difference.
Receivers right now.
Oh, sorry. Yes. You know,
you were texting, so you weren't paying attention.
Well, we took so long.
See, I had to text twice, but I texted when you were talking about the kicker and defense. No one cares.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about the kicker and defense.
Receiver battle
in the first place.
I think I'm going to give to the Fuckmeisters just because Miles Brown Johnson, all the receivers are going after strong defenses.
Except for
yeah.
I wouldn't say Seattle's a strong
defense. They're an okay defense.
Tight end, Miles Brown Johnson does not have one at the moment.
Does he have a backup?
No.
Sucks. So you got a lot of bias.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
But there were multiple tight ends out there. You got Scott Chandler from Buffalo, who kind of either...
They're all shitty.
Owen Daniels from the Texans was out there. I think my dick was out there too.
My dick's out there as well.
You can pick up our dicks.
Yeah.
Tight ends or your dick.
Twin tight ends.
And then Foot My Supremes have Martellus Bennett for the Giants, who didn't do shit against the Eagles. He had 2 receiving yards.
Could be a fluke. Tight ends are always hard to predict. But if I had to take a tight end that's playing against a tight end that's not playing, well, tight end's probably
pick up a kicker. Dan Bailey's on bye.
Yep. Mace Crosby going to probably make a lot of points against Indianapolis, I assume.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things you guys have to do.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And then defense, Seahawks or the Broncos?
I'm going...
But
2
Broncos
good offenses
against New England, Seahawks.
I'll make this easier. It's just going to be Seahawks. Carolina, they've been good, but the only great week they had was against the Saints defense. That's not very impressive to me.
So we'll go
Broncos.
Seahawks.
Yeah, sorry. Seahawks.
So overall, I'm going to go with Miles Brown Johnson.
Miles Brown Johnson.
Boom.
Get your team together for
last matchup. Pittsburgh Steelers and Pop Luck and drop it. Pop Luck and drop it.
And if you win, I'll be happy because then I'll be because now I'm currently tied with Pop Luck drop at 3-1.
Okay,
so
Joe Flacco.
Win.
Joe Flacco from the Pittsburgh Steelers at Kansas City, or Tom Brady at home against Denver.
Ooh.